Hey there guys, Octavian here. Going to be doing a little bit of a shoutcast for you. This one's going to be in a different vein than all of the other ones I've done so far. It is a high-level solo queue match, so it's similar to Challenger casts in that regard. But while we will be casting the action in the entirety of the game, this game has been chosen specifically for the mid lane player going up against Keith McGrief today, and that's going to be Dabox, who is famous for his Veigar play. I looked through a bunch of the replays that I could find from this guy, and I have chosen a few of what I thought were the better Veigar games that really showcased this champion. Because this series is going to be all about showcasing the odd picks that get tons of success in solo queue. Dabox is ranked among the top few hundred people playing this game in North America, so the guy obviously knows something about how to play this game, and specifically something, or rather very many things, about how to play Veigar in this game. Veigar, I don't know, however you want to pronounce it, but the little tiny purple evil mage of Doom that hates it when you call him short. That guy in the mid lane. And so we're going to be focusing on the odd playstyles that crop up in the higher level play of this game. Starting the series, of course, with Dabox's Veigar. I'm very excited to get into this, as looks like Ice is going to be getting some vision in the enemy jungle up there. Sweet Innocence didn't actually see him drop that ward, so they don't know. And that's a very good spot for a ward right there, actually. It will spot out whether Jarvan decides to go to the Gromp or go to the blue buff. It doesn't just have vision on one of the two camps. Maximum vision control for his one single ward there. Very well done by Ice, as Dandy Light and Sneaky are going to be taking out the Gromp camp early. Now, this is something that I've seen a lot of bot lane duos do. They'll go after either the Krugs or the Gromp, provided that their jungler isn't starting at that particular camp, and get it through the early XP advantage that it can offer. Kind of reminiscent of back in late Season 2, when that was the standard as well. And, it's something that I probably am expecting to see Riot actually probably nerf, because they didn't like it back then, and since we are in the preseason, there's going to be a lot of changes before we really hit Season 5, but Xpecial is getting flayed backwards. He does not walk into the jumps. Good presence of mind there. The exhaust is dropped by Painless onto Sneaky, but he's going down very low anyways. The flash forward, the heal, and the shield, though, coming out, both from Xpecial rather, and Painless. Keep him alive, but that's every single summoner burned from the side of blue, aside from Janna's flash. It's the only summoner remaining on blue side's bottom lane. And that is a very tenuous situation for them to be in, especially considering that Dabox's Veigar, once he gets out of the laning phase, he's very prone to go roaming. I've seen him quite often build into the Boots of Mobility Veigar that allows him to roam across the map, and not only that, but also allows him to make catches by getting in range for the event horizon, since that is the way that Veigar primarily is able to catch people out, hitting them with the instantly cast, huge duration, huge AoE stun. That is his E, arguably one of the most powerful spells in the game, powerful non-ultimate spells in the game, since it has the potential to literally stun everyone on the enemy team, and it has so much zoning ability. It's one of the things which makes Veigar as strong as he can be as an off-meta pick, and there is Ultra Baymax 76,000. That's quite the name. Getting engaged on by Sweet Innocence. Turns it around with a few boomerang tosses, though, and so he's going to be able to survive in that lane. That is one of the nice things about Gnar. Irelia as well does have some decent sustain, but Gnar, with his passive, every time it procs, he gets a flat amount of health back based off of his level. And so it does mean he has to keep pushing, because the only way to proc the passive is via damage. But in the mid lane, we have a gank coming in from Jarvan. Dabox is forced to flash away. The Ignite is burning onto him, and first blood goes over to Keith McGrief. Teleport coming from Ultra Baymax is not really gonna do very much. Just kind of waste the cooldown, actually. They're going under the tower. They're gonna keep on going for this. Keith McGrief flashes forward, but the shield from Dandy Light. I was so excited. I knocked over my lamp. If you heard that in the background. That was clutch. Talk about clutch timing right there. The roam from bottom lane just gets to mid lane in time to be able to save Gnar's life. I think he still... No, he didn't actually die in the end there, so... Well done by Dandy Light. Perfectly timed roam. A little bit serendipitous, actually. I don't think he was quite planning for that particular circumstance. But that's one of the things which can make a great player just learning how to react to circumstances, even if you aren't planning for every single eventuality. Being able to act quickly on your feet is a very, very valuable skill to have, especially at this level of play. Kazahana going for his Raptor Camp, or the chickens, whatever you want to call them. And here we have another roam from the bottom lane. Keith McGrief still is not level 6, so he's at the weakest and most gankable point for a cast in the playback. There's the stun over the wall. He has no way out of there. Ice going to be picking up that kill. That's Pantheon getting ahead a little bit in the early game here. That's exactly what he wants. Pantheon can become oppressively strong if he gets just a few kills under his belt, though he does fall off once the game hits 35 or 40 minutes, but ooh, Sneaky turning around with the zap, does not quite land the slow, and Special is able to sidestep the Flame Chompers. However, Dandelight is still going aggressive down here, walking right up for the auto attacks, looking to try and get some good positioning for a hook. He knows he has the minion advantage right now. This is about a wave and a half in favor of Red Team, while Blue Team only has a little bit less than a wave to their side. And at this point in the game, that is a big deal. That's a lot of somebody's health bar going away just because of the extra minion aggro in a 2v2 fight. So in bottom lane, there's really always a third player present that's kind of always gone unnoticed, and that is the minions, the sort of invisible third player in those 2v2s down in bottom lane. Always really, really important in the fight and never really mentioned, and it saddens my heart a little bit, but lots of minions under the tower here. Sneaky and Dandelight gonna get some good damage onto it before Xpecial and Painless can really clear this out. Ooh, the hook flies out, but it doesn't quite land onto Xpecial. Just an auto attack from Dandelight. And we have Jarvan coming in for a gank down there. He's sitting in the Tribros. There's some pink going out, though. Looks like they might know that he's there. Meanwhile, Keith McGrief getting stunned up and damaged. And Ice was just sitting in the bush for pressure. Sneaky now not able to take the lantern in time. He's going to get knocked up by Kazahana and brought to his knees. Sweet Innocence kills off Ultra Baymax in the top lane in a duel we did not get to see because there was just too much action all over the place. The camera didn't even know how to handle it. Pings. Mia pings up in the top lane. Pantheon might be looking to capitalize on this low health Irelia. As you see on the minimap there, he's running into the lane, but doesn't look like he's going to be able to close the gap to get up next to her. As we do swap up to the top lane, Ice is actually going to the 1v1, but Sweet Innocence kind of wants to do it, though! Ice has the minion damage on his side. And there's the unsung heroes once again coming to the aid of their beloved champions, protecting them with their very lives. As Xpecial heads back home to base. We have a little bit of a quieter moment on the map here, so we can go ahead and take a look at some of the builds as they start to formulate. It looks like Dabox, who is the focus of this game here. This is all about those strange and unusual plays at the higher level, or champion picks rather, at the higher level, and Dabox's Veigar certainly qualifies for that list. Not a very commonly played champion. Oop, the stun lands and Dark Matter falls from the sky. Not very much damage yet. Dabox likes to maximize the Q first. Obviously, getting the lowest cooldown allows him to not only stack up the AP incredibly quickly, but the Q is actually really good poke. And I read a guide put out by the guy, and he said that landing the Q for poke more often than farming can sometimes be quite a good idea in the lane. But there's the flash forward from Dandelight, the damage from the R as well. And Dabox just about gets the kill. I thought maybe the magic damage shield for Kassadin might be able to keep him alive. And he might have been able to escape a little bit of health left, but that was not going to be the case. Meanwhile, Sweet Innocence is going on another 1v1 with Ultra Baymax. Ultra Baymax lost the last one, but he's looking to win this one. Stuns Innocence up against the wall, but he is Irelia, and he gets that innate tenacity, so he's going to be able to simply walk on out of there. And they trade just about evenly, trading ultimates as well. Ultra Baymax is... He did get the pushing advantage here, though. He's managed to get the minion wave pushing against Sweet Innocence, pushing it under the tower, which means that Jarvan, seeing that Gnar is pushing up like that, is roaming up to the top lane, so we might have a little bit of a gank here on the top side. Pantheon sitting in the tribe, though, so we might have a gank, counter-gank situation, as down on the bottom side of the map, Dandelight's going aggressive. The zap lands into Painless. Flay as well. Hook has yet to be thrown out. He's saving it for when he needs it. Finally, he tosses the hook onto the Janna, but Lucian has gone aggressive, and Sneaky is forced to back off. Dandelight's still going for this one. Just the Flay backwards, though, and Sneaky is way too low to be able to actually take advantage of that. And also, as I've been mentioning over and over, there's a lot of minions for blue side. Sneaky having to clear those out with the rockets. The AoE shot's good for that. There's the Flame Chompers not quite proccing because Xpecial flashes right before they finish priming. And the Ignite is burning. The Jinx ult flies past as Painless tosses down the Monsoon, countering the last few ticks of Ignite damage. The healing was cut in half, but he only needed a tiny little bit to survive, so it didn't matter that it was cut in half. Still saved his life. because the Ignite ticket this level isn't doing all that much damage. Ignite, by the way, the damage it does is based off of the level of the person who casted it, so earlier on Ignite actually does less damage, but then again they also have less health. However, Kazahuna going in with the Cataclysm on Sneaky, forcing his Flash Wave, while Dandelight tries to kite off to the other direction, trying to force them to choose between killing him and killing his AD carry, but it looks like they want to have their cake and eat it too. The knock up, the very edge of it lands, and the final auto attack from McSpecial is going to be securing the kill. 6 and 6 in kills here, nearly even in terms of gold. This game is shaping up to be a good one, friends. First dragon of the game, started off by blue side. Assistance pings all over. They know what's happening. Both sides do. Ice has roamed out of the jungle. He sees that they're going for that dragon, and he's going to scare him off of it, because it hurts quite a bit. You don't want to be interrupted by the enemy team while doing that this early in the game. That could be disastrous. Oops. Event Horizon lands. Just a little bit of harass, though, from Dabox. He has the blue buff. Oh, a Primordial Burst! The Ignite dropped as well. He's going for it, and he gets it. I thought that was just going to be a little bit of trading, but Dabox had different plans. And, well, his plans certainly worked out for him. Gonna go ahead and push the minion wave now. That is one thing that Veigar is not very good at. He can burst people, he can catch people, he can roam pretty well with those boots mobility, but he is not very good at pushing towers. Though he can clear minion waves fairly quickly. Once you get a decent amount of AP under your belt and you've maxed it, the Dark Matter actually can burst down all of the caster minions in a wave kind of easily, so you can at least push the backside of a minion wave very, very swiftly. Just press one button on where you know they're going to go, though it's always embarrassing when you cast Dark Matter and the minion wave moves before the Dark Matter lands, and then you feel like an idiot because you can't even hit minions with your skill shots. But I digress. That's more of a personal complaint. Dragon going to be started up by a red team here. Painless knows what's going on, but it doesn't look like it's going to be able to be stolen away, and actually, Kazahana might be in some trouble here. He goes in onto Sneaky just to gain some distance. He Cataclysms as an escape. Now that's something you don't see every day. There's the Cullen coming out. Sneaky getting a lot of those bullets in his face. The teleport's coming from the top lane though. Here comes Gnar into the backside of this team fight. Dandelight does go down. He lands the post-mortem hook onto Express though, and beautiful! Gnaro followed up by the Super Mega Death Rocket, instantly chunks half of blue team down to half health, holds them against the wall. They trade Sneaky for the kills, but I would say that was worth it, especially considering that it was red team who managed to pick up the dragon before the fight even happened. Well played by red. Ooh, nope, neither one lands. Gnar trying to pull off a 1v1 with Sweet Innocence, but Sweet Innocence is having none of that. As Dabox roams into the jungle, the flag spots him out though, as does the ward. So he knows he's been spotted. He might be able to get out of here in time. Aurelia's hot in his tail, but he's going to have the Boots 5 come back into motion here, and he's going to get that speed buff to get on out of there. And that's the other thing. The Boots 5, good for engaging, good for roaming, good for killing the enemy team, but it's also quite good for when you're a tiny little purple mage of evil surrounded by enemies and you just gotta zoom on out of there. Helpful for those situations as well. Sweet Innocence has roamed to the middle lane. Might he try and make some sort of play happen here onto Ultra Baymax? Only time will tell. And of course, the replay will tell us that as well. As Special is getting aggroed onto here from Dandelight. Tosses out the hook, but it's dashed away. Good timing from Special. Good reflexes. Also good to not panic there. Dandelight walked right up into his face, but he didn't use the dash until he knew he would need it to avoid the CC. He even took the flay, took a little bit of damage from that, and then used the dash right when he was going to need it most. So, prescience of mind to be able to save his escape until he would, well, need to escape. Zap actually lands onto Special though. This might be an engage here from Dandelight. He's playing very aggressive Thresh, but it might come around to bite him in the butt. There's a Jarvan sitting in the tri-brush. If he goes too aggressive here, Jarvan's certain to come around into the lane and make him regret those decisions. Actually, it looks like he's roaming down through the other brush now. Might want to go for a lane gank proper. Aw, Dandelight. He doesn't know it, but he's in kind of a bad position here. Jarvan's sitting in the bush. He might come out after him. There is the Thresh. Not actually going to get knocked up. Very nice sidestep, but he's going to get knocked up by the Flag Drag. Flashes away, but Cataclysm from Kazahuna going to be locking him and Sneaky up. 2-for-1 deal right there for Jarvan. However, the Pantheon ult has dropped him. Grand Sky falling into the backside, but he doesn't have any backup. And Keith McBrief has roamed from the middle lane. Flash of the wall from Ice. A little bit more damage will bring him down, but nobody's quite in range to actually finish him off. Flag and drag forward. Flash forward from Painless. And the smite to secure it. Never going to get used to that. Jarvan actually used Chilling Smite to finish him off, as if he were some kind of jungle camp. Saving his smite so that no one else can steal the kill, right? Oh, God. Junglers can do that now, and it's still really weird to me. Keith McBrief trading it out with Dabox. They just toss Qs at each other. That is one of the things that I neglected to mention up until this point. Kassadin is actually a pretty decent counter to Veigar. He has a way to get out of the event horizon if Veigar tries to trap him inside of it. He's got the magic shields to trade with Veigar's Q, and it kind of just nullifies the damage from Veigar's Q if he's keeping up in terms of AP. And, of course, he builds moderately tanky. Not as a full tank, that would be a little bit odd, but just moderately tanky. Usually a Rod of Ages, perhaps an Iceborne Gauntlet is something you will see a good amount of Kassadin's bring, though, to be fair, that isn't too valuable against a Veigar's damage. But still, it is a tanky item, so you'll see Kassadin's build into health, into some resistances, and so that really helps them in avoiding being bursted in a single combo, which is what Veigar specializes in. Veigar is the king of single rotation burst. So it's going to force Dabox to focus on the other squishies on the team, which amount to a Lucian and a Janna. Now the thing is, focusing Janna would mean that while she's stunned, she obviously can't cast Monsoon or Eye of the Storm, and thus can't really save people's lives too effectively, but you're also focusing the Janna, which means you just spent your abilities to kill the support, and the AD carry is still roaming free. Whereas focusing the Lucian means that Janna is going to be able to save someone. But there is Dabox getting engaged on the middle lane. He's going to be going down. Cataclysm to squish him into the ground. Meanwhile, Painless tosses out the Monsoon just to try and heal up some of his allies a little bit, and they are on the retreat here. If Ice gets in range for a stun, Sweet Innocence has roamed from the top lane, though, and he is going to be turning this fight around. The hook lands on the Sweet Innocence. Keith McBrief comes over the wall, and Ice is suddenly in a very, very bad place. Zap turns around on the Sweet Innocence. They get as much damage as they can. The hook doesn't quite land. But 2 kills traded for actually none so far. Ultra Baymax trying to at least convert 1 kill for his team, but no dice. The turret goes down to the bottom lane too because Lucian wasn't even in this fight. He was split pushing that whole time. And oh, Nar's a little bit desperate for the kill. Dashes under the tower, stuns them both up against the wall, and with a single boulder gets the double kill. Well done by Ultra Baymax, realizing it was his time to shine. Gnar is an incredibly powerful champion in the current meta right now. He's one of those champions that can just sort of weather a lane, hold out for a while, then come down and be incredibly useful to his team, even if he didn't crush the lane really hard, which you can't really say Ultra Baymax crushed the lane really hard. I mean, it's a 1-1-1 Aurelia on the other side, though he does have a 50 CS lead, so perhaps I should eat my own words a little bit, because that is a pretty crushing amount of CS right there. Well done by Ultra Baymax so far. The unsung hero so far of this game, and only unsung because I'm the only one who's been doing the singing, or the shouting, and I've neglected to talk about Gnar, which really is a bit of a crime, seeing as he's got a 5-2 KDA, which is pretty dang nice, as well as a 50 CS lead, the highest CS on the board. He's been holding his own here. There's the hook line, and keeping brief, the Deathfire Grasp, and the Primordial Burst. Dabox does not want that man standing anymore, and, well, he's forced to comply. Well, Ultra Baymax swaps back up to the top lane to continue getting his farm on, something he's been doing quite well this whole game. Got the double buffs, too. Yeah, that is a very scary place for Aurelia to be, especially not even having completed the Trinity Force yet, which is going to be a huge power spike for Aurelia once Sweet Innocence is able to get to that point. But before that point comes, that's the thing about Trinity Force, it's an incredible amount of power once you get it, but building up to it, none of the pieces are too incredibly powerful. Phage is really nice, but it's not a hugely powerful item, it's just a hugely efficient item. Same goes for Sheen, and indeed for Zeal. All the pieces of Trinity Force are nice items, but none of them are big, heavy-hitting items. Trinity Force then turns that all around as being one of the most heavy-hitting items in the game, if you're one of the champions that can make use of it very, very effectively. Ooh. Some good damage on the Sweet Innocence. Ultra Max is continuing this chase. That is one of the things about Gnar when he's in mini-form. He's very difficult to escape from. The boulder is not quite enough. And he doesn't want to dive under the tower. So, Sweet Innocence manages to escape with just a sliver of his life left. As Sneaky and Dabox play a little bit of a sneaky game in the jungle. Asahana finds them, though. They drop a ward to keep track of the jungle. And Cursic Special's getting hit up by the hook, rather. And pulled back into an event horizon. Sneaky finishing off that kill. Sweet Innocence teleports to the bottom side of the map. Dandelight might be in some trouble now. Actually flays Jarvan out of his Flagon Dragon. Sweet Innocence ignores him entirely, trying to go for Sneaky, who's a little bit low on health, but perhaps he should have just focused onto the Thresh, because it's too late now. Gnar is unstoppable. Spamming laugh, because that's what you do when you're unstoppable. You can laugh at your foes if you feel like it. You are in the right when you're 6 and 2 and you have the highest CS on the board. He's chasing after Jarvan into the jungle. The event horizon doesn't quite land, and he doesn't manage to hit him against a wall, just barely avoiding the stun there. Ice still wants this kill, though. He's going to chase after, and the hook doesn't land on anybody. And the team disengages after taking the secondary turret in bottom lane. Red team, despite being only 1 kill up, is actually pretty far up in terms of everything else. They have the single dragon, or actually, no, 2 dragons. They have 2 dragons, I misspoke. And they have the ability to catch out a Kassadin, which is a difficult thing to do. There's the Jinx, so doesn't quite do enough damage. He doesn't get over the wall, though. The animation was mid-cast as the auto attack from Thresh finished him off. The closest of closest that you can possibly get. Ultramax split pushing the bottom lane. They've already gotten the second turret down there, so it looks like he's just pushing out the minions a bit to get a bit of gold into his pockets before he heads on back to base. Probably going to be finishing that Spirit Visage next. Very powerful pickup for Gnar. It's going to allow him to basically ignore Kassadin's damage, since Kassadin's been doing decently, but not crushingly good, and so with just 1 magic resistance item on top of all the other things that Gnar has, he's already effectively ignoring Lucian and Irelia. And now he's going to be able to ignore the only source of real, veritable magic damage on the other side. But Ice is getting dove in the top lane by Sweet Innocence, ward into the bush to keep track of him as he goes through there. But Sneaky and Dandelight are both here as backup. And Sweet Innocence bit off a bit more than he could chew. Dragon up in about 1:45. That's probably going to be a pretty hot area of contestation between these teams. If Blue Team can get that dragon, they might be able to find some sort of window back into this game, because as it is, they are slowly losing advantages all over the board. Nice event horizon. Beautiful. I mean, it wasn't incredibly flashy looking, but that was incredibly well placed. Instantly stunned up both of them. That is what experience on a champion can get you, friends. Dabox has probably literally thousands of Veigar games played, so if anybody is able to do that sort of thing on purpose and not as just a fortuitous accident, it's going to be him, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say that that was actually planned. Event Horizon, trapping him in a box! And, you know, it's a bad box to be in when it's Dabox's box. Humor. Special. Getting slowed up by the zap, getting slowed up by the boomerang, and then has nowhere to run because of a stun box from Dabox. Goes down to the damage from Sneaky. And Red Team is starting to look like they have this one in the bag. Or I guess I should say, in the box. Hey! The hook flies out, it lands on the castle. They're going under the tower here. Another stun there, chaining their CC perfectly. He has not been able to move that entire time. He flag and dragged, and that was it. That was just mean. I feel bad having witnessed that. The CC chain over and over again. And they managed to take out the first inhibitor of the game 25 minutes or so in. Actually, more like 24 minutes or so in, but who's counting? And then they back off. Free pressure in the mid lane. They might want to go for a dragon here since it did just respawn. No reason not to pick that up since Blue Team does have to defend against the super minions in the middle lane now. And it's going to be even more difficult for them to realistically contest this dragon. Yeah, Pantheon easily burning that one down. Lots of damage coming out of that build there. He's got a Brutalizer and he's got the Warrior enchantment. That's all you really need to be able to do some decent damage as Pantheon. And of course, Jinx finished off the Infinity Edge as well. Doing well herself. No one player on the side of red is doing incredibly, insanely well, aside perhaps with the exception of Ultra Baymax and Zanar, but even then, it's a respectable score, but not a in-your-face 13-0 sort of score. But every single one of the members has their own share of gold. They've all got a piece of the pot here, and they're all doing a very good job with it, so well played so far by red side. Of course, well played by blue side as well, holding on as well as they have in this game. They've lost a few advantages, but they haven't quite lost the game yet, and we could yet see some kind of comeback. Oh, stun lens on keeping breathing. There's a ton of damage from Dabox. The final Q follows after him. It's not quite enough. Jinxol goes wide and he flashes forward, saving it just in case he needed it, and it turns out in the end he did indeed. Meanwhile, teleport coming from the Gnar. Ultra Baymax coming right in there, tossing a boulder over at Sweden. This is just to slow him up so that he can get away, and then turning his attention onto Kazahana. Gonna chase after him in Mini-Gnar form. Even in Mini-Gnar form, this guy is tanky as all hell. Nothing can hurt him. And this is a rout for blue team. Not a single one of them is going to be able to escape this. The zap flies after X Special. One more slow to land onto him. The auto attack from Jinx. It crits and they get the ace. Sneaky dying at the foot of his base. At the stairs to the Nexus, or the stairs to the fountain rather. The most shameful and humiliating place to possibly die. Aside maybe from like the fountain itself, but at that point it's really not that big of a deal if you die. There's one Nexus turret falling, the second one explodes right thereafter, and the Nexus itself is going to be going down. GG, well played by both sides. Red team picking up the victory here in the first of this new series following Dabox's journey with Veigar.